Good evening. It's Saturday the 13th of February and I'm reading this to you for Sunday the 14th. Human Crossings. 9 stories about refugees. And I've been reading to you AMINA'S Diary. A journey crossing the borders to human unity. Written by Noha, Nasser. And we reached the part in the story where Rubina and Amina were looking at the water they needed to cross. I looked at Rubina and told her I couldn't do it. She reached out and held my hand, her sullen eyes staring at me. Listen to me, Amina. You can cross this river. We will cross together. Everything will work out in the end. Have faith. I opened my eyes. She was quoting my mother's wise words. I pictured my mother's face. I knew she was anxiously waiting for news from me. I was unable to call them for over 2 weeks. They must be worried, I thought. I can do this, I whispered to myself. I have to do this for my family, I repeated. I removed my rucksack and slowly raised it over my head as I cautiously stepped into the cold current of the river. People had created a line. They slowly fought the torrents, doing their best not to lose their balance, one small step at a time. At one point, the water reached my chin. I looked up at the angry grey sky. For a moment, I was looking down at myself. Just a face poking above the muddy, brown, churning water. I reached the other side. Out of the woods appeared armed military officers. They were on horses. They rounded those of us who had crossed. They had batons and were beating people. I tried to run towards the woods, calling to Rubina to follow me. But as we were about to reach the edge of the woods, a large black horse came up beside me. A hand grabbed my headscarf and pulled me back. I fell to the ground. Another officer ran up and began to beat me with his baton. I screamed in pain. Rubina tried to stop him, but he pushed her to the ground. Stop! I yelled. I cowered away to minimize the areas he could hurt me. He eventually stopped, dragging me through the mud and then pushing me into the river. I found myself floating down, my body in too much pain to stop myself. The river turned a bend. A man reached out his hand from the riverbank and grabbed it. He pulled me to safety. I sat on the bank, coughing and shivering from the ordeal I had just experienced. The army officers were everywhere, forcing us to return through the hole in the fence, back to Idomeni. So now I am back here praying that Rubina has managed to get away. I have decided to find an agent in Athens who can fly me to France. I can't make this journey on my own. And on Monday, we'll find out where they are. Human Crossings, 9 stories about refugees, can be found on Facebook and also on Amazon. Good night, Diane Hans.